All right, everybody, welcome back to the Beans No Ball podcast. This is the week 9 edition of Sunday Morning Chat. Let's just get right into it here.
Yeah, so this is gonna be the week nines. There's a Sunday chat carrying on from episode 10 of last week. So obviously it's just a mini episode. Obviously, we're gonna go over some news that so far happened this week. There's not a bunch of news that happened this week, so this episode may be a little short. And then we're gonna move on to our cash and trash segment, and then our fantasy lineups. And then there's some quick minute takes of our teams, and that should be all.
Yeah, so like you said, there isn't much to talk about around the league this week. We already went over the bulk of it, which was the trade deadline. So, just a couple little things here and there. I guess for one, the Titans are going back to Ryan Tannehill after he did only have to miss a little bit of time with that hip injury, I believe it was, or the illness. That's what it was with him. That they gave Malik Willis a shot. He obviously didn't show enough to really take that role from him. So Tannehill will be back in a really important game this Sunday night against the Chiefs.
And also from that, we have some more injury reports as well. Rashad Bateman from the Ravens, one of their starting receivers, he is out for the season with, I think it's ACL, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so Rashad Bateman's out, so that's one weapon from Lamar Jackson gone for the whole season. Another injury report to carry on from that is Michael Thomas, who did come back this season, is out once again for the rest of the year. I think he's only played 8 or 9 games in 3 seasons, I believe, if I'm correct. But yeah, so Michael Thomas is out. He's already getting like a bunch of crap around the league by not by the players but by the fans in general. He's already getting a lot of crap. But you can't give crap to a player who gets injured, But at the same time, after that one historic season he hasn't been really doing anything. But can't really say much about that.
It is just unfortunate. People do kind of just make the big deal. Oh, look at Brian Robinson. He got shot and he came back in 4 games, and this guy has a messed up toe and he played 1 year and he's done. But in the end, he got to look out for his health. We don't know what the extent of what's going on with his toe, with his foot in general. So, for his sake, for his health moving forward, if that's the right call that the Saints had to make, then that's the call. And in the end, you just got to respect that. And moving on, just another couple things to build off some of the deadline deals that were made. For one, after the Jaguars have already acquired Calvin Ridley, the receiver from the Falcons, they obviously still aren't able to approach him or do anything because of that suspension. That's just they really haven't been able to have much communication or reach out to him yet. And obviously, I think there were reports that both sides were already thinking about contract negotiations, but that's gonna have to wait until the end of the season, just because of his pending suspension, obviously. And on top of that, I think this is probably the last thing we'll really go over is another deadline acquisition for the Dolphins. This time, Bradley Chubb, probably one of the bigger deals made this deadline. He just signed was it a 5-year, $100-something million deal that with 60-something guaranteed?
It was 119 million.
119. I think it was 63 point something guaranteed.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins are locking him up long term. It's obviously a big move for them, and like I had mentioned, they're been making a lot of moves. Obviously, how they ended up getting Hill and Waddle. So this is gonna strengthen them up. Obviously, they have the Bills to worry about in that division, and that's gonna toughen them up for a postseason run here.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the important news that has gone around in the league so far. So we're just gonna move right along to our cash and trash picks of the week. So we decided to skip kickers because we just didn't want to do kickers. I don't think it would have been that.
Well, actually, Christian, before we move on to our actual picks this week, let's go over
A recap of
our recap of our picks last week, which obviously we didn't go over players. We went over actual defenses. And for our cash picks, Christian, you went with the Cowboys, your Cowboys, and I went with the Eagles. I did take a victory here with the Eagles getting 13 points. Cowboys only got 10. Obviously, two great showings for the defenses, but with the Cowboys giving up 29 points to the Bears, that was probably the key factor. When you started letting them run all over, it kind of took a couple points away. Still a solid game for them regardless. It was a lot of garbage time, but in fantasy that doesn't really matter. And like, unfortunately, you took an L here.
Yes.
And for trash, saying we both made a decently good calls. The Packers that you took only got 5 points, but not really much when the Steelers only got -3.
So, no way, they got negative.
They got negative points this week against the high-flying Eagles, obviously.
Oh my God.
So, obviously, another pretty smooth win for me there. This is the first time that I actually took both of them. So
what's the cumulative record for your picks?
Honestly, I haven't even been keeping.
You haven't? Okay.
I haven't. But I mean, I think you're ahead, honestly.
I would assume I'm ahead by at least a couple points.
Been going, but I'm catching up little by little.
Yeah. No way the Steelers got
-3. So I mean, yeah, you go ahead and start with yours. I guess just introduce.
Yeah. All right. Kickers. Yes, I guess. All right. So to move on to the QBs, since we're not doing kickers, for my cash player of the week for the quarterbacks will be Tua. Tua coming back from his concussion. I mean, he's had some pretty okay games coming back so far. I knew as soon as he came back, the Dolphins would get back on track. You know, they're 5-3, right? The Dolphins.
I think so.
5.
They're I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 3-3 without Tua. Without Tua left, and then they ended up winning 2 in a row when Tua came back. So Tua did really make a big impact to that Dolphins offense and to the team in general. So that's why I'm gonna choose Tua to be my cash player of the week. And then for trash player of the week for the QBs will have to be Zach Wilson. You know, since Zach Wilson coming back, people had some hopes for him that he would actually do somewhat decent, but he's had his last 2 games were pretty bad. So, I mean, for Jets fans and football fans in general, I wouldn't expect much from Zach Wilson. So that's why I'm choosing him for my trash player of the week.
I'd say some solid picks. And, for me, I'm probably going to go a little obvious with mine for my cash pick. I'm going to have to say Josh Allen. That is the matchup against your trash player, Christian, obviously, against the Jets in Zach Wilson. But I mean, you just see obviously the high-flying Bills. I mean, what can you say going against a Jets team that sure they surprise, and they're facing a great defense with obviously Sauce Gardner and just a bunch of those guys. But I mean, I'm gonna have to say that the Bills get an easy win. I think we were in a easy agreement with that with our predictions in the full episode. But yeah, I mean, not much to say. I'm predicting probably like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns from Josh Allen, and just obviously connecting with Stephon Diggs like usual. And for trash, kind of another easy pick. I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence. It's the Jaguars are struggling. Obviously, we saw how they look surprising in that the really weak AFC South, but honestly that little early season magic where they were on top of the division for like a couple weeks, that kind of just ran out. And Trevor Lawrence still has those turnover problems. He can't really pick it up too much just yet. So I'm gonna have to, I guess, say a pretty easy call to go with him as my trash player of the week. And obviously that's gonna wrap up cash or trash for this weekend. We'll move on to our fantasy for the week. Just I think I believe I lost last week. I'm down to 3-5. Not really the best in our league, Christian, but I think I got a semi decent matchup, which is, I mean, I'm hoping to improve this week. So obviously we'll have our teams on screen, and after my horrible decision in switching out Stafford for Malik Willis, I'm rolling with Matt Stafford again at quarterback. It's against the Bucs, who it's a struggling defense. They're down 4 in a row. I'm hoping my Rams can pick it up, but yeah, just I'm hoping for better from Stafford. And For my running backs, obviously Derrick Henry. He's just he's my guy in that position. If as long as they weren't on bye, I'm always gonna have him up there. They're playing the Chiefs, which I'm obviously not expecting a win from him there, but I mean a good chunk of yards. The Chiefs defense isn't the best against the run, so I'll expect a good game from him. And got Saquon on bye this week, unfortunately, so I moved Devin Singletary up into the RB2 role. They're playing the Jets, as I, obviously how I felt with Josh Allen's performance. I see more of the same for Devin Singletary, so hopefully a big game for him. My receivers are Tyreek Hill and Curtis Samuel. So Tyreek, easy to call there. They're playing the Bears, so I would expect a big game from him and Tua. And Curtis Samuel, they're playing the Vikings, so that's going to be a tough one. But I mean, hopefully, with the guys I got on bye and injuries, unfortunately for my team, that's who I got to go with. So, as long as I can get like anywhere from like 7 to 10 points from him, I'll be happy. At tight end, Firmut's on bye, and Njoku is both on bye and hurt. So, I picked up Taysom Hill, which he can be hit or miss. Week in, week out. If he just has one of those games where the Saints basically run the entire offense through him, then this could be a really key move here, like kind of what you did with Dante Foreman last week. So I'm really hoping for that. And at my flex, I got the infamous Allen Robinson. I finally put him back into my lineup. Looks like Stafford's kind of starting to get him the ball more little by little, so hopefully I don't end up regretting this and he gives me a little shitter with only 2 points. But
he's gonna end up getting like a catch for 3 yards.
I would expect him to. I mean, he's been getting like a touchdown at least at like every 2 weeks and getting more targets, so maybe they're starting to pick up that chemistry. For defense, obviously, as it's been common now, I basically switch it out every week for a key matchup. So I picked up the Vikings this week. They're playing the Commanders. It's a pretty easy call. We both agreed on that being an easy one. So yeah, Vikings defense for me. And my kicker that I've been riding with all season, Daniel Carlson, best kicker in the league as of now. So I'm feeling pretty confident he can get me a decent amount of points here.
Pretty solid lineup. Yeah, you were right. You have been doing pretty bad so far in our league, which is pretty surprising. But yeah, so with my team, I think I'm a pretty okay lineup, but I'm going against one of the top dogs in our league right now. So let's just hope I can get a miracle out. I am on a 4 streak. I am on a 3 streak though. I'm 4-4, going from 1-4 to 4-4. So I mean that's something good right now. So for my quarterback, Dak's currently on bye, so I had to go out and I had to get Marcus Mariota. I feel like he's a good, solid fantasy pickup. From the last couple of weeks, he's been getting pretty good points. So I decided to go with him as my quarterback, maybe at least 20 points. That's probably doable for him. So probably a decent game from him as well. For my running backs, I got Aaron Jones once again, and I got Dante Foreman. I picked up Dante Foreman last week and to substitute Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And thank God I did, because he dropped me 31, and that pretty much sealed the deal for my matchup last week. And then for my receivers, I got Jay Jettis as always, and AJ Brown. AJ Brown already played on Thursday. He got me 15.9, so pretty okay head start. Pretty excited for that. But Jay Jettis, obviously another key matchup against the Commanders, so I expect him to go off first half, get at least like 100-something yards, maybe 2 touchdowns. It's pretty doable for him. In the second half, obviously, do the same. It's pretty reasonable for Justin Jefferson standards. For my tight end, I have Mike Gesicki again. Mike Gesicki's honestly been a sleeper pick for me this year. He's been giving me at least 10 plus points each week. So I mean, I'm kind of glad for that. I drafted him late, I think, and I was kind of like, what's it called? I was kind of having doubts because I don't know if Tua was gonna have a good connection with him. But with Tua's success so far this season and his connection with Gesicki and even the other receivers, it was pretty okay for me. So I mean, I'm glad for that. So Gesicki, expect a decent game from him. For my flex, I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire on flex as well too. So I have 3 total running backs. So I think Clyde's also been doing well. So I think he can play another factor in the flex because it was either him or Hunter Renfrow. And Hunter Renfrow's pretty doggy right now. Hasn't been doing anything. So Clyde is pretty much my last hope. But I expect something good from him. And then my defense, I have the Bengals defense. I couldn't pick up anyone else because the other remaining defenses are kind of dookie. And the way the Bengals played against the Browns the other week, I was kind of being like, I don't know, man. But I mean, they're pretty much my last resort. But I mean, from their matchup this week, it should be an okay matchup. So I don't really expect much from the Bengals defense. So I'm gonna just stick with that. And then with my kicker, obviously, the man himself, Will Lutz. Will Lutz, thank God I picked up Will Lutz, man, for Jake Elliott and Matt Prater. Will Lutz is honestly the better kicker I have right now, and he's been giving me some. Jesus Christ! I just got that. And
Yeah.
All right. And then to wrap things up for.
See, that's why you bring out the computer.
No. And to wrap things up for my my fantasy and my kicker, I have Will Lutz once again. I picked up Will Lutz a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad I did because I don't think Matt Prater and Jake Elliott would have done good for me. And I think Matt Prater is injured. I don't think he is anymore, but he hasn't been picking up a good amount of points as far as I know. So Will Lutz has been doing me good right now as we are. He's getting me obviously some manageable kicker points, 7 and up, which is pretty good for me. Helped me win my matchup last week. And I think I got a pretty good solid team coming up this week. I just got no upset time.
Yeah, I mean, I see you got a solid team too. Just hoping, like you said, hoping for a slow game for your matchup. But yeah, with that being said, that's gonna wrap up fantasy, and that'll move us on to our final segment, being our last minute takes for each of our teams. So obviously with me with the Rams, I got obviously a lot to talk about. Just it's a pretty big matchup against the Bucks, which even though they're skidding right now, they're looking really ugly, but regardless, it's Tom Brady, so you never know when that team can just wake up. They are without 3 starters, one of them being their star defensive back, Antoine Winfield Jr. So that is a little somewhat ray of hope for us. I mean, that opens the door for Cooper Kupp to get more open, or if they go heavy on him, they'll at least have, I mean, hopefully Allen Robinson or Van Jefferson if he plays, which he is questionable. So hoping for the best for him, because obviously he barely came back from an injury last week. But yeah, I mean, that opens the door for a lot of our offense, which surprisingly enough, the offense was the more of a bright spot last week, at least in the first half, which I think as I did mention, if our offense can look like it did in that first half, I'm expecting pretty good things. But I do expect us to win here. I mean, it's crazy to say that Brady's going to lose 5 in a row, but I mean, I got to come in with the optimism that the Rams aren't going to be falling flat after it just probably the ugliest game of the season that last week, and just a complete implosion against the Niners, which yeah, I got to stay optimistic, as bad and as depressed as I've seen in the past couple episodes when I have to talk about the Rams. But yeah, I expect to win. And apart from that, there's obviously a couple other news here and there about the Rams. Like obviously we weren't able to trade Cam Akers at the deadline. We threw him into the Christian McCaffrey offer, and I think also the Brian Burns offer, which both were rejected. Obviously McCaffrey's on the Niners now. Doing what he does. But I think the report's already out that Cam Akers is going to be active today, so he will be playing back at Raymond James Stadium for the first time since his abysmal divisional round performance where he fumbled twice, which I would hope to see him get some redemption there. And just it's looking like maybe we could start to fix that relationship that kind of seemed to deteriorate towards the trade deadline. But if he ends up leaving in the off season, I would not blame him. Obviously it's tough. He hasn't had much of a role this season regardless, and at his age, he's trying to find himself, get into his prime. So it would suck. He's been obviously my favorite running back the past couple years, but if he goes, he goes. And I guess the only other roster talk that we're gonna have, and I know you're gonna touch on this, it's OBJ. There's been lots of news recently. Obviously, there's Von Miller crazily trying to recruit him to the Bills, as he did when he was with us, and he successfully did recruit him to LA. But Now, I mean, just I think it was 2 days ago, Cooper Cup posted a nice little a nice little story of a picture with him and OBJ at the Super Bowl. So that gives us some hope. Hopefully he does come back. It's looking possible. It just sucks with how the news that was out a couple months ago about him getting a really low offer from our front office, but I trust we'll re-sign him. So I mean that's basically all I gotta say. Just hoping for a big game against the Bucks today.
Yeah, it's for sure gonna be a good game. The Bucks and Rams for sure gonna be a good game. This game could obviously go both ways since how bad struggling both teams have been doing. But with my Cowboys, thankfully, it is their bye week finally, so I don't have to worry about them pulling some tomfoolery on the field. But as of right now, my Cowboys, with the absence of Dak Prescott for about 7 weeks, we're sitting at a comfortably record at 6-2, just one game under the Eagles. One game, 2 games, my fault. Realistically, there's really nothing else much to say besides Jerry Jones once again crapped the bucket on the trade deadline. He's way too late to trade for Brandon Cooks. But I mean, the downside of that trade was if we were to trade for Brandon Cooks, Texans would wanted a 2nd and 4th rounder for an almost 30-year-old receiver, and we would have to compensate his contract for $18 million. We do not have the cap space for that, so that's one of the reasons we could not trade for him, which is pretty bad. But I mean, you know how Jerry Jones is. Jerry Jones, the Cowboys are not a free agency team. We're a drafting team, and that's kind of the thing I hate the most about them. But I mean, whatever good players we can get, to be honest. But Dak Prescott, Dak looked phenomenal past 2 games. If we're looking past the Lions game, second half, he did okay. But if we're looking at the Bears game, he did phenomenal. He did really well. It looks like he's back in his group. Tony Pollard, amazing right now. That running game is phenomenal. But as Jerry Jones said, he's going to stick to Zeke, and where Zeke goes, we go. So, I mean, I'm not too mad about that, but I really would like to utilize Tony Pollard more than Zeke. Maybe split 60-40 carries with them. Michael Gallup, I mean, he's still coming off his Achilles, but I mean, he had an okay game last week. So I'm not going to give him too much shit about that. CeeDee Lamb, once again, looked phenomenal. We have yet to have a receiver to have a 100-yard game, which is pretty concerning, and we're still sitting at a 6-2 record. That defense, though, that run defense is pretty abysmal. We allowed a 200-yard rushing. That was bad, and we still managed to win that game, surprisingly. But when I do look at it, we did acquire Jonathan Hankins, and I will tell you, he is the freaking centerpiece of that run defense. Every time Jonathan Hankins, according to the stats, as Jonathan Hankins was lined up on the D-line, both Montgomery and who was the other running back of the Bears?
I can't recall. I mean, it mainly runs through Montgomery.
Yeah, it was Montgomery and the other guy, but I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But so when he was on the line, they combined for, I think, 11 carries, 39 yards combined. And obviously, when he got taken out, they just ran right through us. So Jonathan Hankins is definitely the centerpiece for that D-line. But I mean, he is a big guy. He is a really big guy, so he's going to get tired a lot. But if we were to keep him in for every single snap, I think our run game would be, our rush defense would honestly be freaking deadly.
But other than that, that's the guy you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Khalil Herbert.
And coming into this game, the Bears did have, I think they were top 3 in passing defense. No, passing offense. And we managed to pretty much hold them most of the time. Because Justin Fields, he pretty much got most of his yards, which was a little bit garbage yard. But, I mean, still doesn't matter. We still came out with the victory, 49-29. It was a really great victory for us. But, I mean, yeah, other than that, we're on bye week. We are eyeing OBJ, according to Jerry Jones. I hate when we have interest in, like, a player and we don't sign him. That is Jerry Jones' due diligence. It is kind of annoying, but, hey, if we can sign OBJ, it's pretty much OBJ to Cowboys or OBJ to Rams. But, I mean, I really hope he gets to the Cowboys. We do need another receiver. James Washington is set to return, but I don't know when. Hopefully next week. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, nothing else much to say about my Cowboys. We are doing extremely well right now. We close out our bye week with the Packers next week, and I really expect a great win against the Packers. So let's wait to find out and see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, not much to say yet. It's your bye, more of a relaxing week for you, and that's basically gonna do it for our last second takes. And let's just wraps up another Sunday morning chat. You know, just hurry up, get this out, and go get a little more rest and watch the full slate of Sunday football. So, as always, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. Just coming to watch us on all the Wednesdays and Sunday mornings. So that's basically gonna do it, I guess. Christian, anything from you?
Yeah, obviously we just like to thank everyone who's been sticking around with the podcast since we started in August. It's going pretty good for us, Hopefully we'll get better traction by, I would hope, come playoff time. But yeah, it's been pretty good. The podcast has been going well. That pretty much wraps up episode 10 Sunday chats, and we'll hopefully see you guys Wednesday.